Hello, good evening. It's been a long time. I'm back with a very interesting article on ancient Turkic place names in Europe. I'm going to show you some maps and the majority of chuvash Turkish names mostly in Europe, and we're going to see which countries might have these words, these cities and towns names, especially the chuvash Turkish is very dominant in these names. I always thought that most of the cultures in Europe, the ancient cultures, were formed by the ancient Turks, but I didn't know which Turks they were. Now, this person, Valentin Stetuk, says that the Chuvash people were the carriers of the corded ware cultures in Europe. So this means that most of the places names that were given are or were given by the Chuvash ancestry. I also think that the name Alp for the Alp Mountains are most probably given by the Proto-Turks in Europe. I was thinking of the Etruscans, but it must go beyond that. So most probably the Proto-Turks, maybe the Chuvash or the Proto-Turks of that region that gave the Alps the name. So very important, it says here that the Chuvash Turks were the predecessors of the Scythians and Sarmatians. So they came there before the Scythians. As you know, the Scythians are also the Proto-Turks. And therefore, the Chuvash were most probably the first name givers of the places in Europe. We will dive into some of the names in these countries: Scandinavia, Germany, Poland, Ukraine, and so on. So it goes on. Wait a minute. This is number 1. Yeah, it must go on with this part. So this is actually only an example. Like, for example, when you have a look at some districts in Ukraine, you will see that some place names are very similar to Chuvash. And you see here, we have Chaus, Chaushov or Chausov, Chausi, Chausovo, and Chavusi in Belarus. So these are mostly the names that are found in the Russian-speaking provinces. So this is the proof that the Turks had conquered Europe before the today's Europeans did. We also have in Eastern Europe names like Mayak or Mayaki. So Mayak is a very, very, I mean, it shouts, I am a Turkish name, or I'm a Turkic name. Especially when you see names ending with K, like for example Kayak or Mayak or Kazakh. Even the Turkish tribes or Turkic tribes, they have K's at the end, which defines actually the structure of the roots of the Turkish names. Like we say, for example, Kazakh, Kıpçak, etc. Yes? So I'm leaving the meanings here because if I were to start, it would last for hours, and I actually don't want to steal your time. Just pay attention to the importance of these names, and that you have an idea of how Europe once was, and that you must, or that we must, protect the Turkic languages, especially the Western Turkic languages, like the chuvash or the Bashkurt, and the Tatar languages. Actually, the Tatar languages are the Turkic languages, yes? And they have so many dialects. But I think as a Turk, we owe Ataturk the legacy that we must learn all Turkic dialects before they die out, because Chuvash is an endangered language, and Bashkurt Turkish is as well an endangered language, and Yakut, especially Yakut, is a very endangered language. An endangered Turkish language branch, I would say. So, first things first, we must learn these Turkish dialects. I say Turkish because I think the Turkish dialects comprise everything. For me, Turkish is actually Turkic. It's not Turkish in Anatolia. When I say Turkish, it is considered all the dialects. But if you say Anatolian Turkish, it's the Turkish spoken in Anatolia and the dialects here. So, a very important thing here is that modern German and Chuvash languages have some things in common. There are lexical matches, right? I know that German took the lik or lich, for example, wirklich, natürlich, the lik suffix from Chuvash. That's what I know. That's what I heard. And here it gives you the topography of the Chuvash language. So yes, it gives you here, for example, some names like almaz, meaning diamond. Now we say elmas for this. We have softened the A in Turkish. Alma is the original form for apple. And now in Anatolian Turkish we say elma, but they still use alma in Uzbekistan and Azerbaijani Turkish. See now, Almaznaya streets. You see, in Russia. So these Almaznaya streets are Turkish streets given by the chuvash. So okay, another important feature is okay, before we go on with the chuvash language, we start with Ukraine. Is this the reason why Ukraine is being bombarded or has been in war for years? Because the ancient Turks have left marks in Ukraine and Europe? Is this the reason why the Soviet Union was, God, how can I express it? Is this the reason why the Soviet Union, actually it was not the Soviet Union, it was Turkic Union, just under a different name. So it was never Rus, it was actually a unification of Turkic states, and the name of it was Rus. Anyway, we don't deserve war. That's what I want to say, because we are very warm-hearted people, we are peace-loving people, we are welcoming, we are hospitable. So we don't deserve war. We don't deserve war. Name it whatever you want. So, here it gives you some root names. When we say, for example, kavar, it means kavur, kavurmak, to roast. We still use it in Turkish. And there are many place names in Ukraine, most probably starting with kavar or ending with kavar. So there are villages which there are villages which are close to these names. Another important feature is that in the Turkish language and in ancient Turkish, rocky places were defined as tov or tau, which means da, as a ta, da, it's softened from T to D. It's also prevalent in, it's also seen in Mesoamerica, in Northern America, among the ancient Indians. You call them the American Indians today. They also have this feature. And also in Mongolia, you have Tar or Tau and places names like that. I always wondered whether Lindau in Germany is derived from this Tau. Maybe the original name was Lindau, which later turned to Lindau. Very interesting. So also Doruk could be included in the meaning like this, like Dao, Tal, Doruk, also Tor, Dor, most probably comes from Doruk. So if you have a comparison of these, if you see these words ending with Dao or Tau, please consider that they could be Turkic roots or Turkish roots. So here there are some other words descending from the Chuvash language and the Turkic language, of course. The Chuvash language is a Turkic language. We have here, for example, some urun, oron, or yak ending words, like, for example, yak toriv, yak, say, for example, yak, yakut, or just the syllable yak sounds so Turkic. Okay, in Chuvash, yak is smooth, and in normal Turkish, we use yak for fire, for burn. We have then chul here, meaning stone. Now we say tash in Turkish. So in Anatolian Turkish, it is tash. So anyway, here we see the Chuvash dominance in these words. So we have here, for example, Tustan, Poltva. So they're all Turkic origins. And then we have Scythian Turkic names like Korosno or Peremshlani, Kimir. You can tell that Kimir is a Turkic origin word because Kemer is a Turkish word. Or Ushkov. Ushkov sounds very Turkish. Chapar, for example. Kutkir. Words ending in IR are typically Turkic. Say, for example, Bashkir, Avar. I even think that the word Bavaria is coming from the Avars, because it ends with R, Bavaria. Why is there an R after the word? So, Avar, Bashkir, or other Turkic tribes, they have R's in the end. Listen to my lecture, which is about the Turkic tribes and the Turkic communities within the world. There you can see the Turkic tribes ending in K, ending in R, and so on. So this is a proof that these places were given by the Turks. For example, we have here like here, for example, Kimir, also ending in R. Or just Turat. If you have a look at Tur is a syllable which is Turkic. It goes on with some other examples. Here we have, for example, Basharivka. Bashar is a Turkish word. The I, ev, and ka is a suffix most probably given by Russians, but the word stem is Bashar or Shumbar or Sasan. Even Kazan in Russia is Turkic. It is a Turkic word. Kazan means something that you cook on the oven. Here it gives examples of the chuvash language and what they mean. For example, Kush is winter, and the original of winter was ker in chuvash. So if you have a look at Cherkasy, very interestingly, I would say the Cherkessians, the Cherkess people, I wonder if they are actually Turkic origin, because I always thought that they were, they sound so Turkish, and I always defended their being Turkic, actually, being of Turkish descent. So you have to think twice before claiming something. You cannot say Cherkessians or Cherkessians aren't Turk, or, I mean, the Caucasus, I think, is mostly made up of Turkic originating people from the West, from the western part of Turkey, I mean, of the Turks coming from the Ural Mountains, etc. That's what I think. So, look at other words. From Scythia. Now here, it gives you the continuation of the chuvash, and that is the Scythians. So, here we have Bulak, for example. Bulak, Boluk, is a Turkish word, because bol means in abundance. Abaz. We have, for example, the Abaza community. They are also living in the Caucasus. So I would question this. Apuch, Upach, they sound very Turkish. I mean, it says here Greek origin, but Greek took from Turkish. The Persians took from Turkish. Bishkin is a Turkish word. You can sense it. You can sense it. That these words are Turkish. Uman, Tumar, Shupar. If you have a look at India and Pakistan, there are many names like this. So I would also question the Northern Hemisphere and how many Turkic originating place names there are given by the ancient Turks to almost all the continents in the Northern Hemisphere. Yeah, here, for example, in Chuvash we have kelmech, which means beggar. We don't have this word in Anatolian Turkish, but if you have a look at the Gelmiyaziv, so it's a village near Ukraine. I mean, it is in Ukraine, near a town. So uh-huh. So also many names in the Carpathians might have Turkic origin. I'm sure of that. Turkul, the word itself, Turkul, sounds so Turkic. Kakaraza, kakar, for example, or kukar. Kokar means in Turkish stinking or smelling. Okay, kara, here, kara means dark. So everywhere you see kara, it is a Turkic originating name. Kakul or kukul. I also think that these names have something in common with the American Indians, the Native Americans, the place names of the American Indians. They sound so very much ancient Turkic. I'm leaving out the meanings of the chuvash words because everywhere you see chuvash meanings. Kalush, for example. So very much Turkic. Kelechin. And then you say, these are Slavic words. No, they're not. Very interesting. In Chuvash, sk means watchful, shapar means bosom. And if you have a look at the Scythians, maybe there is something to that. Very interesting. And here are some maps. Before they are shown, I would like to stress on Turka. Yes, there are some names, for example, Turku in Finland. There is definitely something to it. So Turku here means in Old Chuvash site, marketplace. Voronenka. Yes. And then, of course, the ancient Chuvash, the Scythians, and don't forget the Huns, the Avars, and the Magyars, right? They all contributed to the formation of today's Europe. I mean, what you consider Europe is definitely not Indo-European. The roots of Europe were shaped by the ancient Turkic people. Look at the names. Just look at the Alps. Okay, here in this map, it says the ones with red dots. Wait a minute. Ethnicity. Wait. Okay, of course they were not created by aliens. These stimuli. As the Carpathian Basin, the Carpathian Timoli, is definitely related to the ancient Turks. And here it says, the Proto-Chuvash people assimilated among the Ukrainians. You see here? So, Ukrainians are actually a mixture of Russians and Turks then. Ancient Turks, Bulgar Turks. Hutzul, Turkish origin or Turkic origin. Also, if you see words ending with L, they are Turkic origin. For example, Mongol. Well, I think they have something Turkic in it. I think Mongols are a mixture of Turks and Chinese. Yeah. Okay. And here, have a look at the Proto-Chuvash names. It says here, red circles indicate the Chuvash place names. So the red circles are given by the Chuvash people. So this here is a map of, I think, Ukraine. Okay. So many. So many. And you see here, it says here, the Proto-Chuvash Turks, they had left their mark on Ukrainian folk culture, especially in embroidery, carving, and songs. Hungarian Chuvash contacts, which began in Scythian times on the northern Black Sea coast, could be resumed again when the Magyars, under the pressure of the Pechenegs, crossed the Carpathians and found its home on the territory which is occupied by them now. You see now how interwoven Europe is. So, now to Poland. Okay, we looked at Ukraine, now Poland. This is all Eastern Europe. Okay. Shur is one syllable, which might date back to the Chuvash. And we also have Bud. Now the name Bud, the syllable Bud goes back to Turkish, ancient Turkish. We have Budun, which means people, community. Buddhism, for example, Buddha, Budapest, even the names given by the Turks can be traced back to the ancient Turks. That's what I wanted to say, very important. So we have here Budzo, for example, okay? And also Puch means, or Buz means head, it says here chief. So when you have a look at Budun, Buddha, Budapest, or Budzin, or Budzun, you all see the connection. So they have this in common. Bud. Wherever you see Bud, it was given by the Turks. It is ancient Turkic. So Buddhism is actually nothing but ancient Turkic. Now, this was Poland. Have a look at the names, the place names. Kujan we have here, for example. Tarzava. Temiz. Tara. Clean. Now we have saf for clean in Turkish. Tenzin. Teresin. Interesting. Even Warsaw. Warsaw. Now, look at the Czech Republic and Slovakia. The Carpathians. So the Carpathians are full of Turks, or were full of Turks. And it says here the Sudeten, the Sudetes, the Sudeten Deutsche. It says here, settled in Poland and later in Germany. A dozen of Turkic names are located in the Czech Republic and northwest and the northwest corner of Slovakia. Yes, Churanov, for example. Just take at Kuran or Churan. Words ending with A and N. Some scholars say, or some people say, when there are certain syllables ending with an, they are definitely Persian names. I don't agree. The word Turan, for example, or Iran, is not Persian. I don't think they're Persian names in original. Look, Churanov or Kuranov. Kuran. Or, yes, this is definitely an ancient Turkic name. Oh God, now comes another map. If you have a look at Europe in general. So this is actually Eastern Europe and Central Europe together. And it says, an overview map of the Turkic place names of ancient times. The blue dots, forget about the blue dots. The purple dots marked localities of Turkic origin. So we have to look at the purple dots. Now, have a look at the purple dots. Here. More than half of the names were given by Turks, by ancient Turks, especially in Russia. If you have a look at Russia, Eastern Europe, especially Eastern Europe here. Yes, yes. They were everywhere, scattered everywhere. So the corded ware culture was actually proto-Turkic. I knew it. Hungary. Not so much in Hungary, but here. So this must be Ukraine. Look, Munich, Bavaria, Sudetendeutsche. Yes, yes. Okay. The Czech Republic. Many, many places in the Czech Republic. My nanny, my German nanny and her daughters, they were actually dark. Yes, dark. They were not typical German, like, light blonde or blue-eyed or things like that. They had green eyes and they had dark hair, brown eyes and dark hair. So they might have been assimilated Proto-Turks into the regions of Europe and mixed with the local population in the Czech Republic. Yes, if you take Sudetendeutsche, they adapted the German language later on. Anyway, let's turn back to the topic. Have a look at the Turkic original names. Here we have, for example, Prague. Yes, even Prague, the capital of the Czech Republic, must have been chuvash. Turzovka, okay, this is typical. Right. The red dots are from the Scythian period. So even the red dots. Now have a look at the red dots. I mean, so this means that the purple dots and the red dots belong to the Turks. Yes. So you see here the red dots in Hungary, in the Balkans. In Ukraine, the red dots in Ukraine are from the Scythians. So they claim that the Scythians are Indo-European, or that the Scythians are Iranic or Persian. No. Why would they destroy a people that was Indo-European? I don't think so. You don't destroy something that is from your own. You destroy something that is different, that is not from your own. Kharkiv, Turkish word. Look at Chisinau. It sounds very much Turkic. Bukhar. We have Bukhara in Uzbekistan, and we have Bucharest. Bukar, Bud. Look here. Even Northern Europe. Northern Europe. And they said, oh, the runes have nothing to do with the Turkic runes. It's just coincidence. So what is coincidence? I mean, that we were almost everywhere in the Northern Hemisphere? Is this coincidence? Now Romania, Moldova. There is Gagavuzia in Moldova. So and I think the Gagavuz people, they have a wolf as their symbol on the flag. Yes, we have Palanca here, for example, in Moldova, right? So Palanca. Now have a look at Palanca. There is an ancient American Indian tribe which is named Pachanka. And please listen to the Pechenek sound. So Pechenek is a Turkish tribe. Palanca is a name given by the ancient Turks. And if you have a look at Pachanka, it is an ancient American tribe. So this all goes to a common ancestor. Bakhmut, for example. These are all Turkic names. Okay. So, going on to Romania. Yeah, okay, Gora. Okay, Gora is Slavic. It says here. Okay, they're defining the word Magura. If you take Magura, Magur could be Turkic, but Gora, okay, if you take Gora, it's mountain in Slavic. Magar is mountain. Okay, so it is a Turkic origin, Magar. Now we have Dal, Tal in Turkish, meaning mountain. And Tepe, of course. Tepe is also an ancient name for hill in American Indian. The Mayas, I think, the Aztecs had Tepe or Tepec as hill. Okay, now look at Bük. Bük means to bend in Turkish. Inke, that means, I think, yenge or something. Yak, misfortune. Yes, yes. See the K suffixes here? Bük, yak, buyak. So they all end with K or ak. This means that they are ancient Turkic. Abasar. Now Germany. Germany, where I grew up. Okay. Kerka. We have Pashto. Pustav means clothes. And there is a name, Gustav, in German, and Mustafa in Arabic. Now it's of course a Turkish name. Ut is a horse in chuvash. Very interesting. We have at. Tarpa. Tura. Tara means comb, yes. And the word tur is definitely Turkic. Tarpa, tar is Turkic. Chula, lick in Chuvash, and yala is in Turkish. Have we finished? No, we haven't. Actually, we are coming to Germany. Okay, it says here the Turkic place names. Turkic ethnicity. We have Türkenfeld, Türkenheim or Turkheim in Germany. Have a look at the corded wear culture. The corded wear culture is Turkic. God, I always was suspicious about this. So I think the purple dots, it says here purple dots. Yes. The purple dots are definitely Chuvash, given by the Chuvash. So here, look at Berlin. Look at East Germany. Leipzig, Dresden. Even Central Germany. I mean, Nuremberg, München, Mannheim, Frankfurt. I know that the Huns, they went through Germany, Frankfurt, Köln. And the Huns, they must have given names as well. Even Basel. Now look at Aisch, Asbach, Bacharach, Barut, Igelheim. So Igel, something like Ikkele, which means iki, two in Turkish. And then it goes on with the place names. Borna, Krudim, Cottbus, Gerach, Goslar. I mean, places ending with R. Hadamar or Koslar. They must be Turkic origin. Hadamar. Itzehoe. Jasdorf, Jena, Jürgenshagen, Jürgensby, Jürgensdorf, Jüterbog, etc. Kandel, Cantilina, Kiel, Kirkel. Yeah, if you look at Kirk means 40 in Turkish. Kır. Kır also means grey. When you mix something, it means grey. Kır. I think also the name or the color grey derives from kır, grau. We have Küritz, Nora, Nürnberg. Nur means humid in Chuvash. Pankow. Okay, look at the word Bavaria. It ends with AR. And then it goes on. Parchim. Perkam. Salem. Tartun, definitely Turkish. We have Tarhun. Tarkan in Turkish. As male names. Tartan. Turtan. Tecklenburg. Tekle, quiet. We have Charka. Ancient Turkic. And then, of course, it says here, when you find a word, Bach, Berg, Burg, Heim, Hof, from the second part, there must be a prefix to it, which is Turkic origin. Okay. Now, this is just Bavaria. So most Turks were situated in Bavaria. It says here, the old Turkic place names in Bavaria. Turkic place names with the purple markers. We have to look at the purple markers. So, Karlovy Vary. I went to Karlovy Vary. Naila, yeah, Naila. Even Fulda. Fulda. I have a friend who lives in Fulda. And I always thought Fulda is not a German name. We have Bayreuth. Okay. Yeah, most probably because it's Bayar. Hallstatt. Oh, I remember the skulls that were found in Hallstatt. I think weren't there Neanderthal skulls found in Hallstatt? Or there was a Hallstatt culture. If this is the Proto-Turk culture in Hallstatt, it is definitely Proto-Chuvash. Homburg. We have Kam in Turkish. Gerbrunn. Gerb. Yes, could be. Dormitz. Habburg. Yeah, could be, yes. Mayach, Fürth. Nuremberg. Nur. We have Nur in Turkish. Jachenhausen. Pullach. So many Pullach. We have Lam, we have Ascha. And so on and so on. Pullach, everywhere Pullach. Pürgen. Emmer Sacker. Emmer. Yeah, we have Emmer. Most probably Emmer could be a Turkic originating name. Kema 10. Also very strange. Okay. Now have a look at the place names in Bavaria. Now, Amar means time prone to rain. Anka, Thursday. Asha, warm. We have Uluk now in Turkish. Bamberg, pan, apple tree. I don't know if there is a connection to this. Bamberg, Bayreuth. Payar, own, ut, horse. I mean, Payar, I think Bayar, Bayreuth could come from Bavaria or Avar, Perken, Berching, Perken, to splash. Okay. Tert, push. Dertingen. Dert means also Pain in Turkish. Emer Zakar, Emer, eternal, Sakar, 8. Okay. It goes on. It goes on with Switzerland. I mean, the list goes on in Germany. Hamburg, Gerbrunn, Ker means autumn. Okay. Chuvash, Fürth, yeah. Okay. Homburg, Kam. Again, Iggenbach, Icken, Jachan. Jachenhausen, Jachan, near. Yeah, it could be. Kasan, Cutable. Kematen, decrease, Attan, desire. Lam, Naila, to drone, hum, booze. All Chuvash originating names. Mayak, landmark. Perkam, per lonely, come ashes. Puk, gather. Puk, gather. Pulak, fertility. Interesting. Switzerland. Now, if you take the Alps, they are definitely Turkic names. I mean, given by the Turks, the Alps. Basel, Pazar, Turgi, Turku. Okay. Then we have, of course, Scandinavia. Very important. I think we went from the north down, and it was not just East Asia. It was, I think, the ancient North Eurasians were speaking Chuvash-like, originating ancient dialect, which derived into a language later, and most probably in Siberia, in the Urals, it was formed into an ancient Turkic Western language, with the contact, of course, of the East Asians, most probably. It could also be that there was already an agglutination of the language. It doesn't surprise me. It says here, there are lots of places in Lithuania, Latvia, Estonia, Finland, Sweden, Norway, and Denmark with names of ancient Turkic origin. Now have a look at Askim. Cambo, etc. Oslo. Even Oslo. Aka. Which means ekmek. Ek. To sow. Even Helsinki. Kel means winter in Chuvash. Now we have Kush. In Turkish. There are a dozen Turkic names. Kerkasay. Kır. Okay, so kır was autumn. Mandal. Salakas. Salak. Now derived into Turkish now as stupid. Now, Tartu. We have Tar, as I said before, Tarkan, Tartun, Tartunia, I think in Italy somewhere. Taur. So if there is Taur as a Turkic name, there must be also Taurus. Taur. The Taurus Mountains in Turkey must be given by the Chuvash people then. I mean, if Taurag or Tauragnas is a Turkic word, so Chuvash, Tavarak, Torsas, Tukum, Turku, of course, they're all Turkic. Uppsala, even Uppsala. Russia is full of Turkish names. Just name Kazan. Akul, for example, or Okul. Ek, to cultivate. Aka. Ah, yeah, here, ak, ek. Okay. And then we have loads of names. Sharapova, for example. Sharap is a Turkish name. The ova or ovo is a suffix given by the Russians. Adoyeva, Akat, for example. Apaz, Artak, Aidar, Baba. Okay, it says here Papai is a Scythian god. Kashir, Kirov, Kokorev, or just Kokor. Sorry. There are only 10%, so I have to finish this in anyway. I will try to charge this. Okay. So we have kokor. We have kokoreç in Turkish. Interesting. Hooked. Yeah, the kokoreç. Yeah, kakar. Hooked. Where you you stick the animal skin, the intestines of the animal skin onto a kind of hook. You place them, yes. We have Konyashova. Konyashova. Okay, Kanash. I wonder if Konya was given by the Chuvash people here. Kastarma. We have pastırma in Turkish. Keçelle. Kaluga. Keçe. We have... Oh God, so many names. Okay, these names are just in Russia. So we have Kutuz, Kurak, Kurak now means wasteland, something like that. I mean, you cannot plow the land today in, for example, in central Anatolia, which is greenless. So it means kurak. Kutach, we have orsh. Perkin could be sharab. I would not divide the word shar and aphav. I would only take the word sharab, which means wine in Turkish. Chateau, serpuk. I would just take serpuk, and I'm sure that serpuk means something in Old Turkish. Sevap. We have even some Arabic words now, and I'm sure that Arabic took many words from chuvash. I mean, from Sumerian actually, because in Sumerian there were loads of chuvash words, and the Semitic languages took from Sumerian. Tarut, Tolpin, yakın, yam. Okay, we have yakan, yuknov. Yeah, which means yakın. Could be. Then we have Belarus, boyar. Okay, if we have boyar, we have also bavar. Okay. And so on and so on. Bulak, Bersht, Bashar. We have now names, male names like Bashar. Boyar. Charkasi, for example, right? So Charkasi, I mean, imagine Cherkessia. The Cherkessians, they must be of chuvash origin then. Not Russian, chuvash. And now they are an endangered people and an endangered language. Kalush, Kalash, the Kalash in India, they must have been deriving from, I mean, they must have come from somewhere Europe into these places. So, okay, we have here individual cases. Ula, we have, in Turkey, we have places called Ula. Okay, and then it says here, in some countries there are isolated toponyms of ancient Turkic origin, like Kadiev, Kalush, Karash, Kustan, or Kushtan, Opat, and so on and so on. Yes, yes. Yes, that's it actually. Just I wanted to touch on this important matter. This is very important, and I want to focus the attention onto how important actually Turks were in history, and that Turks' history goes back to at least 20,000 years, when we first came together with the ancient North Eurasians and the East Asians. When they came together, they must have formed a universal language, and from there we must have gone everywhere, and we must have taken our language with the animals, with the herds of animals, according to the season, according to the needs, and also according to agriculture. So when we went down from the north, we formed a unique structure of Western Turkic, and when we went down, or when we came from the east, or let's say when we came from the south and met in the middle, we must have taken with us the agglutinative structure, which was also common in the Central Asian structure, the Central Asian formation, and also in the Americas. I don't know. So ancient. If you take the names kayak, kayık, kaya, and other names like Arslan, so I wonder if the Aztecs, when they were talking about the cave, if they mentioned the Ashuk cave in Azerbaijan, because they say, according to a myth, that Astlan was a place where they had derived from, and they believe that they came out of a cave from the north, they say. Okay. They went further south. Most probably, out of the Ashuk cave, they went everywhere. And the formation of old ancient agglutinative Turkic went with these people, and it became a language with the proto-chuvash, Western Turkic, and then it formed Eastern Turkic. It gave way to the Indo-European families. It actually, I don't accept the Indo-European family. The European languages were first spoken by the Western Turkics, and after that in the area of the Caucasus, there was a mixture of Hindus, Semitic speaking ancient people, and they mixed in the Caucasus, and they formed a different, how can I say, they formed a different language structure, as well as a different phenotype structure. So all kinds of phenotypes were formed in the Caucasus because they mixed there. There was the Ateshgah, and the Zoroastrianism and the Buddhist thoughts, and all kinds of belief systems came together in the Caucasus, and they mixed there, and together with the Semitic structure, the agglutinative Turkic structure became Indo-European. I mean, in the West, in Europe. That's why Europe considers itself Western. Europe considers its language Indo-European, but it is actually a spoiled language. It has become spoiled with the Semitic influences. It has lost its original structure. The only thing left is the names. The only thing left is the chuvash names, the chuvash roots. The only thing left is the names of its mountains, its rivers, etc., etc. But all the structure, even the meaning, they have lost. They have actually gotten assimilated within their own culture, where they don't know they have come from. They can't prove it anymore because they have become assimilated. Now, if you take our structure, the agglutinative structure, we still carry the values. We haven't gotten assimilated. The structure hasn't gotten assimilated. And if you take the Turks in Siberia, the different tribes and the dialects of Turkish that are spoken, they haven't gotten assimilated yet. But if we continue to globalize, and if we continue to move towards Indo-Europeanization, and if we move towards Europeanization in the Semitic influence, and also in this kind of modern human influence, then all the cultures will die out. I mean, all the ancient cultures, all the ancient Turkic cultures will die out. For example, Chuvash, Bashkir, Yakut. I didn't mention the Native Americans because they have lost their language. I wish they had a proof that was left so that we could compare their languages and see how close they were to the Turkic world, to the ancient Turks. But still, I believe that their culture lives within us, and we have a common culture, and that the cultures in ancient Europe, we owe the Western Turks. So thank you very much for listening, and hope to be with you in another time. Bye.